Fame. It's the name of the game. Partly as an import from the States, and thanks to social media, famous people are everywhere. And we follow famous people just as intensely. Tabloids and celebrity news are a genre because there's a demand for them. You could become famous because of a talent or some skill. Music and film pop into mind. Or it could be sports, activism, or far more recently, fame as a result of being viral. But for all that, fame is a double-edged sword. People follow you when you want to be seen as well as when you don't. And it's difficult to tell a real friend from someone in it for the fame or fame by association or for the money. Not to mention this celebrity does often come at a young age. A time when it's hard enough as it is to cope with social pressures, but to be watched by millions or even billions is too much. And so, fame cuts both ways. It becomes hard to manage. It changes people. But how does it affect people, and why do they so often fall from grace not long after? The Miley Cyruses and the Justin Biebers, not to mention countless others. There's run-ins with the law, alcohol, temptation after temptation, and sometimes fame kills too. Where does it start? It starts with how intense it can be. The people that succeed in the recording industry or the film industry are often perfectionists, or at least those who repeat until their hands go sore, their voice goes off, or they're too tired to stand. The practice really is tough. Malcolm Gladwell argues you need about 10,000 hours, but those are focused hours. And if you do get good at it, then there's the next step, getting in. Let's look at an example. Dave Cassidy. You probably have no idea who that is. Hint, it's a US pop singer from the 70s. He started out in showbiz as a 20-year-old and was particularly popular with teenage girls. They idolized him. He started out cooperative and easy to work with, a dream many of the people he filmed and recorded with called him. But it took less than a year for that side of him to dull out. He was recording or filming for up to 12 hours a day, coming back on weekends only to fly off to sold-out stadiums across the US. And with a rarely present father, he had little in the way of a support system. Who could he talk to? Who was there to help him stomach the long hours, the loneliness? So, naturally, he became withdrawn and struggled with relationships through most of his life. Now, whether that was because he had become disinterested in fighting to keep those relationships together, or he had no time to do that in the first place, or maybe he picked the wrong people. It all comes down to a function of fame. It seems to merely amplify everything already in place. The relationship issues of your average Joe and Jenny become serial breakups, complicated relationships, and divorce after divorce. Now, not every celebrity has those issues, but it does come down to personality as well as that support system that I was talking about. Now, what about Avicii? He sadly passed away on April the 20th this year. Now, whether you've listened to his songs, which is extremely likely if you lived throughout the 2010s, or simply heard the name, he had a prodigious sense of music. Not only being commercially successful, but his work also straddling multiple genres and receiving raving reviews at every step. But it appears this came at a high cost. Partly due to his perfectionist nature and the pressure of performing concerts and recording as well as being on tour for most of 2014 and 2015, he withdrew from performing on tour in 2016, citing his health. But the industry is always hungry for more, and so the pressure didn't end even as he asked managers and agents to cut down on the work he would do. After all, they had a gold mine in their hands, and why leave it untapped? And the young age at which lightning struck for him and he became famous, coupled with the long hours on the road and recording new music, meant his support system would have been uprooted. Energy drinks and pills to stay awake, to keep performing, long hours, it adds up for him. It seems it started early actually. In 2012, he was hospitalized from excessive alcohol consumption. Over the following years, he had his appendix and gallbladder removed. It's no secret that celebrities suffer from fame in some ways. After all, for actors and musicians, the smiles are by definition manufactured, while sports people, albeit restricted from drugs and alcohol, they have a different set of issues altogether. Let's not forget that there is a selection bias too. The kind of people that tend to either pursue fame, think Kardashians, or pursue their talent until the very end, think so many actors, sports people, and artists. There's a sort of desire in them for excellence and even perfection, a chase of something unattainable that mobilized them to get this good at their game in the first place. But that thirst for perfection often drowns. It's what happens when you chase the unattainable. Sometimes you climb and climb too fast. But there's a way out, and it involves patience and balance. Because often these rising stars rise too fast. They lose friends because they have to practice. They see their family less and less. But often it is exactly those relationships that ground you and keep you sane in an industry so often based on perception and not reality. It's no wonder remembering where you started from is so high on all celebrities' list when it comes to their own wishes. Because often what brought them to the top is their support system, and if only they could keep that, fame could cut a bit less sharply. As always, I hope you found this video useful. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you loved it. See you next time. Ciao.